Good evening and welcome to round 2 of the SSRI GT4 Championship, hosted by Simsport Racing. I'm SSRI Ambassador Sam Pierce, and joining me in the comms box this evening is Ryan Walker. Tom Vandermeer has stepped in to man the cameras behind the scenes for us for the rest of the season, as our very own Chris Hill can get back behind the wheel and join the GT4 Championship, so it'll be great to see him out on track. Now tonight, we head to the undulating, historic track of Brands Hatch in the Kent countryside. Brands Hatch boasts an unrivaled history of all the tracks in the race calendar, as it dates back nearly 100 years when it was first used for grass track racing. Legendary drivers have made a name for themselves around this 2.5-mile circuit, including Formula One greats Stirling Moss, Jim Clark, Jack Brabham, Ayrton Senna and Lewis Hamilton, as well as motorcycle legends Barry Sheene and Carl Fogarty. Brands Hatch continued to make history, hosting the successful road cycling events at the 2012 Paralympic Games. Its unique combination of dips and hills, interspersed with fearsome off-camber corners, makes Brands a very challenging circuit where overtaking requires bravery and skill. Now, the out-and-out track record here at Brands is a blistering 1 minute 12.2, set by Adam Carroll in the 2008 A1 Grand Prix of Nations, with the real-world GT4 lap record sitting at a 132.1, posted by Reinhard Koffler in his KTM Expo GT4 in 2019. Now, we've already seen lap times faster than that in the practice server this week, so once again, we look set for a brilliant race, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Brands Hatch is such an iconic track, and it's got so much history about it, and it's hosted loads of series over the years, such as the GT World Challenge series, or as it was formerly known back then, the Blunt Pain series, the British Touring Car Championship, the World Superbikes and British Superbike Championships. You name it, it's probably raced here, and it's hosted the SSRI GT4 Championship this evening, and I think it's going to be a close race, and with it being a 75-minute race as well, strategy is going to be one of the key factors around here, and also keeping the car out of the wall, because Brands Hatch is one of those tracks. There's not really anywhere to go, and as I like to call it, it's a bit of a baby brother to the Nordschleife, if you like.
It is. The fact that it's got, so much elevation change, the off-camber corners, this track just loves taking cars by surprise, and and as I said in my intro, you've got to be really, really brave to overtake around here. Two main overtaking points tend to be into Battick Bend, that first corner down the hill into heading up to Druids, and on the coming out of the back straight down Clearways into Clark Curve. Those are kind of your common overtaking places, but to be honest, when with the competitiveness of this field, especially what we saw last round out in Suzuka, people are going to make moves anywhere they can.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think tonight as well, I think don't be surprised if you see some drivers maybe trying to make moves early in the early stages, trying to gain that track position before the pit stops, because Brands Hatch, especially this here, we're coming through as we watch Dave Hedges this section here, there's not really many passing opportunities. If you get a good exit on the exit of the last corner, the Clark Curve, and carry that momentum, you can try and make a move into turn one, but it's a bit risky, so these drivers are going to have to be sensible, and I think it wouldn't surprise me if some drivers end up making maybe slight mistakes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make for some interesting watching for us, and there is one thing that I do need to mention. Anyone who was watching the YouTube chat on the last round out, my sincere apologies. With so much action going on track, I completely and utterly forgot you guys, so not going to forget you tonight. So hello all to Walter and Oliver Anderson. Aaron Van D is already in the chat, so welcome to the broadcast, guys, and hope you enjoy the racing as much as we're going to. And just looking at the qualifying times that have already been posted, we're just coming down into the final final minutes there. Andrew Richardson, no surprise, right up at the top of the leaderboard already with a 131.5. Aaron Walker close on his heels in the 99 KTM machine, and we're just on board with Regan Mitchell in the legendary Maserati. If you know this car in real world or in the game, no traction control, no ABS, no driver aids whatsoever. So this is all Regan keeping this car in check and already up in P5.
Yeah, doing a good job in P5, and actually falls down one position down to P6, but still it's a good effort by him with the Maserati, considering, like you say, it's not got any ABS or traction control. So it's pretty much down to the driver to get the pace out of it, but not to overdrive it, otherwise it'll bite this car. But it's a fun car nevertheless, and I think Regan as well, I think switching over from the McLaren, so maybe fancies a different challenge with this car.
Yeah, and we definitely need to highlight Dennis Werkman up there in P4. His AM status just really does not do him justice. He's been doing really well. To be honest, I'm quite surprised seeing him with the AM classification. But I doubt that will be the case next season. So that is qualifying finish. We've got a couple of cars then still out on track, making some progress. Just on board with Icon Boom, who's come in P20. And very quickly putting everyone onto the grid. So the starting grid for tonight's race, as you can see, is an hour 15 with a mandatory pit stop for fuel only. So be completely up to the drivers whether they want to take tires or not. So it's going to open up that strategy. We saw strategy playing quite a pivotal role in last fortnight's race, last round out at Suzuka. So it's a question of whether people, hang it out right to the very end, pit halfway through, and how people are going to manage the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it wouldn't surprise me if most drivers decide to go with a full tank and then just take 1 litre at the pit stop, like we saw last week with Andrew Richardson, who absolutely played a blinder with the strategy, pretty much going as long as possible and pitting towards the end in the final couple of minutes, I believe. And still managed to come out of the pits and hold the lead, and in the end take a well-deserved victory. But one of the main contenders, or the main drivers that finished on the podium at Suzuka 2 weeks ago, Mark Richards, won't be here tonight. So does this give Richardson a chance to possibly take another victory? It'll be interesting to see. And and Aaron Walker was right up there in the last race in as well, so it gives him an opportunity, currently sitting in P4 in the championship, to get some well-earned points over Matt. And let's not forget Sander Vale as well in P5 in the championship in the Porsche. So it'd be good to see if he can score some points, although I am just noticing I don't think he's actually here this evening. No, I'm not seeing him on the leaderboard. So, and early on with some of the drivers not making this round, it's definitely going to open up some opportunities for some other drivers to come up and get some well-earned points. Yeah, absolutely. As all the cars are lined up in the grid, and I was just looking throughout the grid as well, and a good turnout of cars as well. And I think there's 22 cars in the grid. That's probably not probably not as much as we had at Suzuka, but still around the Brands Hatch, that's still going to be absolutely chaotic. And yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if we end up having some maybe just slight bits of contact into the hairpin because of everyone's getting bunched up, and I think everyone's just maybe going to try and be a little bit cautious in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, I mean, we would hope that they'd be nice and cautious going down that hill, but the track does narrow quite a bit heading into the Druids hairpin. Obviously, coming down out of Paddock Hill Bend, it's a very, very steep incline. I think I read earlier today that incline is, I think at its steepest point is 8% incline. So quite steep, quite deceptively steep as well. So it can very, very easily pull cars offline if you're not careful. So definitely an interesting place to watch. I'm just looking at the track conditions for the race. Track temperature currently sitting at a balmy 32 degrees with an ambient temperature of 24. Looks like the weather's going to hold fairly steady for certainly the first half of the race. So I doubt weather is going to play too much of a role, except maybe in overheating tires. But yeah, should be nice and seasonal weather. So definitely not what it's doing in the UK today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially I think the tyres that are going to take the most punishment, I think, is going to be that left front tyre, just because this track is pretty much you're turning right most of the time. So the front left tyres and maybe the rear left tyres possibly might probably take a bit of a pounding. So I think some drivers might try and just take it easy, look after the tyres until the pit stop, and then after the pit stop maybe just try and push a little bit more. But as we're talking about that as well, the grids is just set off on their formation lap.
Yeah. So while we're watching the cars head round, if anyone who's watching is interested in getting a little bit more involved with Simsport Racing International, we do have some staff positions available. If anyone is interested in getting involved, graphic design role, social media management, and we also have a league admin for our Thursday and Sunday league races as well. So really, really great opportunity to get involved with a fantastic league. I've been with Simsport Racing. This will be my third season with Simsport now. Really, really great bunch of people, really fantastic environment, great racing. So yeah, if you've got some spare time and you want to support us, just ping a message to either Chris Hill or Dave Hedges on Discord and see what opportunities there are available.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a part of the Simsport international community for a short time anyway, but so far it's probably one of the friendliest communities around, and yeah, we can't really how can I say, praise them enough. Everyone's friendly, the racing's good from what I've seen so far, and if anything, like a couple of weeks ago at Suzuka in round one, it was a great race, and I think tonight's going to be no exception, as some of the drivers, or most of the drivers, are starting to form up now, just warming the tyres up as much as they can, because it's a long run down to turn one, and turn one on cold brakes, from my experience, is not a nice experience.
No, they definitely not here as well. Then the breaking point for turn one coming into Paddock Hill Bend, it's really, really difficult to see. Lots of people use varying different breaking points and as well. So, yeah, all good fun on cold tires and cold brakes, because then a lot of drivers do forget to warm those brakes as well. As we go green, heading up into turn one, looking fairly clean and sedate in the front, not seeing any yellow in the back end as of yet, so it looks like everyone is getting through nice and clean.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at Aaron Walker in second place, he's absolutely trying to make a move already, so he's not hanging around by any means and not giving Richardson a chance to settle down. And it's like, oh, someone's run wide there in the background there. They missed their braking point slightly. So, yeah, some drivers maybe getting caught out on cold brakes and cold tyres, but still, so far so good, and everyone's been really clean and not doing anything silly. But as we look at Christopher Hill in 16th, 7th in the Pro Class, trying to make a move, but still, everyone's just settling down at the moment.
Yeah, so even though we've had a couple of people go a little bit wide, miss some braking points, everyone looks like they are still all together running, and not too many big gaps starting to open up yet. Aaron keeping oh no, and this is Dave Hedges. Looks like he's gotten spun round. I think that might have been a bit of contact with the wall as well. And there's somebody else in there as well, Patrick Tractor, unfortunately getting collected in that incident as well. So both cars look like they are back up and running, so nobody's had to RTG. So yeah, going to be a tough climb back for Hedges and Tractor to try and get back onto the back of the pack. As we're on board with Bas van Mellis, having a nice little three-way battle with Dan Lenson and Richard Pixley, and it looks like Bas has just been caught out and pushed off wide there.
He just missed his braking point into Surtees, and I think he might have got on the marbles. He might have got on the marbles as well, possibly. So, yeah, I think he might have just got distracted by the car behind him, but still managing to get going, and doesn't have any damage. So, it's good to see. But looking at third place, Dennis Verkven as well, currently leading the AM class as well. So, even though he's an armed driver, like you say, Sam, he's doing a great job up at the front and proving that he's possibly got a case to move up into the Pro Class.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, they're not going to do any mid-season changes of classes, so he will probably remain in the AM class for the rest of the season. But, and as I said at the top of the program, I'll be very, very surprised if we see Dennis Workman with that red banner next season. As we're on board with Richard Pixley, having a bit of a fight with Dan Lenson. All three of these cars in the Mercedes, so in even machinery between the three of them, this is all going to be down to driver and setup. But is that Tim Nodward just gets a little bit squirrely on the back end coming out of that corner there, and Richard Pixley going to make a dive down. Is he going to make it stick? Oh, little bit of trimming the grass, but he's managed to keep it all together. But sensibly pulled back in behind Tim.
It was a good attempt. I thought he was going to be able to move off for a second, but I think he just decided to back out and just tuck in behind and not do anything silly. But still, it's still a good run for the the Watkins Racing driver, but as further back up at the front, looking at Regan Mitchell with the Maserati in 4th place, and it looks like he's about to make a move heading down to turn 1 into Paddock Hill Bend. Can he get the move done? It's going to be a bit of a drag race, but no, he can't get the move done.
No, Lynn just a little bit too far back, but if he keeps in this gap nice and tight like it is, he may be able to have a go at the back end of the circuit.
Yeah, I think Mitchell's best opportunity is if he can get a good exit here on the exit of Surtees. If he can get in the power early, carry that speed, carry the momentum, and he might be able to make a move heading down to Hawthorne Bend. But I don't think he's not close enough. So yeah, that Porsche, even though it's not the quickest car in a straight line, it's doing well to stay ahead.
Yeah, then going into this race in the practice server, Porsche was doing extremely well. So out of the top 7 drivers in this week's practice server, 6 of them were Porsche Caymans. So this car does seem to be fairly strong around here. I'm quite surprised not to see any of the Porsches a little bit further up than the field from qualifying, but he's definitely sticking his nose out, Regan, and letting Dennis Workman know that he's there, reminding him that he can't really have any lapse of concentration, or else that's going to be a position lost.
Yeah, absolutely. It is Mitchell thought about trying to make another move, but again, just not close enough. But looking at Damien De Kaiser in 7th place at the moment, he's got under attack from Tim Neubauer at the moment, and it looks like Tim's a quicker driver, but it's just the usual case around Brands Hatch. There's not really many passing opportunities unless the driver in front makes a mistake.
Yeah, and then I think that's, as we just jump back on board, it looks like Regan has just capitalised, but very, very squirrely, kind of coming out of Surtees there, and but he has managed to keep it all together and has made the move stick. So Regan Mitchell up to P3.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move by Regan. He saw the opportunity, he pounced at it, and they gained the position up into 3rd place now and starting to pull away from Dennis Werkman behind him. But still, I don't think Dennis will be too worried, because he's still leading the AM class at the moment, and his next challenger in the AM class is way down in 11th place, Denise Pope. So as I look at the replay now of the move that Regan pulled off, and he sees the opportunity, he goes for the move, and Dennis, I think, realised there's no point fighting it too much.
Yeah, he did go in a little bit deep on the brakes, but managed to realise quite quickly that there's not really much to defend in that without it causing an accident. So very, very sensibly let the position go so that he can fight another day.
Indeed, there's looking at 12th place, Christopher Hull as well, currently sitting in 3rd place in the AM class. I kept thinking he was 7th place in the AM class in the early stages, but that was my mistake. But doing well in 3rd place in the AM class at the moment, and yeah, it's been a quiet start to the race. I think he's just doing the sensible thing of not fighting too many issues, and the next driver in front of him in the AM class is the Watkins Racing driver of Denise Pope. So 2nd and 3rd place in class close together, and behind them as well they've got Baz Van Melis for company as well.
Yeah, I mean, then with there being a good 6 pro cars in between Dennis Workman and Denise Pope, where Workman can just concentrate on putting the laps in. But this battle between Chris and Denise, I do know that Chris did qualify a position ahead of Denise, so she has already taken this position and is now defending from Chris, who hasn't been in certainly hasn't been in any SSRI championships for a while. Has been busy commentating with us, but good to see him back on track and in fighting form, as we see Frank Hopp doing a little bit of a pirouette on the back straight, running down clearways. So I'm not seeing too much damage on that car, so I don't think he's found the wall, but is coming straight into the pits.
Yeah, it looks like he might have just lost it by himself, which is so easy to do in that corner, just because you want it. For some reason, it invites you to try and carry more speed than you want to. But back up at the front, Andrew Richardson is starting to pull out a bit of a gap to Aaron Walker behind him. It's up to about 1 second now. So Richardson, he's not pulling away, but Walker as well is doing a good job to keep in touch with him. I think Aaron's maybe just pacing himself at the moment with it being a 75-minute race, so plenty of time to try and make moves and try and close that gap back up to Richardson.
And Regan Mitchell definitely doing all he can to try and catch up with the lead two. He's currently posted the fastest lap of the race. So, and if he continues to pump in then the lap times, he could be on the back of this duo before we get too far into the race. Probably in time for halfway. So I thought I just saw somebody stationary on the side of the track. I think that might have been somebody coming out of the pits.
It looks like Dennis Verkman's under attack now from Lenson and Pixley behind him. So I think Dennis is maybe just he's probably just saying to himself not to overdrive or start pushing too much, because he's still leading the AM class. So even if he loses a couple of positions I should say, he doesn't need to worry, because he's still leading the AM class. And like I said before, Denise Pope is sitting way back in 11th place.
I mean, it could very well be, just mining in his tyres. He's probably got the strategy in mind of, don't change tyres unless you absolutely have to. But with it being a 75-minute race, so that extra 15 minutes can definitely make, all the difference towards the end of this race. Anyone who is still on original tyres, those tyres are going to be pretty ropey, and grip is definitely going to be at a premium. So could very well just be, not pushing too hard, letting cars fight behind him, as just a little bit of rubbing paint between Lenton and Pixley as they're finding it out behind him, which is giving Berkman a little bit of breathing room to just kind of pull away as these two fight amongst themselves.
Yeah, I don't know if Pixley was maybe trying to make a move on the outside or hold it on the outside and then holding it, trying to stay on the outside for the hairpin, but I think maybe just braked it a little bit later. But still, they're going side by side again, and I wonder if Pixley will be able to hold that on the outside now.
Yeah, he's definitely got the run, but it is the outside line of the corner. But it looks like he has made that stick. So great driving there from Richard Pixley. And almost instantly caught back up to Dennis Workman. So Workman back under pressure again, but this time from Richard Pixley as opposed to Dan Lunson.
Yeah, and look who's joined the battle now. It's the Kaisers joined them as well. But as we look at Regan Mitchell in third place, Mitchell, as I say that, is actually just putting the fastest lap of the race so far. So he's actually closed his gap down to the top two in front of him really quickly. So Regan Mitchell not hanging around by any means.
Yeah, he's already brought that gap down to 0.3 of a second behind Aaron Walker. So Aaron's going to have to start watching his mirrors.
Yeah, so as the old Pixley's under attack as well from Lenson, and Lenson thought about trying to go for a move, but can't really do anything. As Pixley gets sideways on the exit there, and that'll compromise his exit. So it looks like he's going to be under attack from Lenson, and Lenson's got the run, but yeah, decided not to try and make a move.
I think Pixley collected that quite quickly and got that Mercedes back up to speed quite quickly to avoid being under attack at the end of the straight. But then this little four-way battle between Workman, Pixley, Lenson, and De Kaiser now joining onto the back as well. I've got a feeling that, and all four of these drivers pretty closely matched in terms of skills. So I think just like we saw at Suzuka, this battle is going to be ongoing for quite a while through this race.
So as they head down to turn 1, and Lenson's pulling out, trying to distract Pixley, and why these guys keep scrapping amongst themselves. This is allowing Workman to just not pull away, but just not be under pressure too much. But I think it's just a matter of time before Pixley makes a move. But still, Aaron Walker is close right up to Andrew Richardson as well, and pulls out there trying to intimidate Richardson, but doesn't succeed. But I think it looks like Walker's got a great run now, and I think he might be closing up slightly to trying to make a move. He might try and make a move on the outside, but he's not going to do it. Oh, I thought he was going to dive up the inside there.
Yeah, it was quite an aggressive block from Richardson there. I think if I attempted that, I would have speared myself completely off the track. But really great defense there from Richardson, and has pushed Aaron back a little bit back into the clutches of Regan Mitchell. So these three drivers, 3/10 between the three of them. So this is another fight that's going to be really interesting to watch for quite some time. Again, all evenly matched drivers, very skillful, and we're in for another great race.
Yeah, absolutely. As the top three are all close together, and I was just quickly checking their times as well, and they're all really just about evenly matched on pace. So they're pretty much just the class of the field. But it looks like the battle for 7th place is going on with De Kaiser trying to make a move up the inside into the hairpin. He's just about alongside. Can he get the move done? And I think he will get it done.
Oh, little bit of a power slide coming out, but clean, respectful driving from the both of them. Oh, is that Tim Nyborg going a little bit wide, letting Patrick Vance just sneak through in the Pulse Motorsport machine. So yeah, it just shows that the tiniest mistake around here can cost you quite quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing with Brands Hatch as well. If you make a mistake around here, but most of the time whoever's behind you will take that opportunity to pounce. But looking to pounce, as I say that, is Regan Mitchell. He's trying everything to get by Aaron Walker, and I think Mitchell's best opportunity, if he can get a good exit on the exit of Clark Curve and carry that momentum, he might be able to try and get a run down the straight. But it looks like Walker's got a bit of a good run as well, so Mitchell's got his work cut out for sure.
Yeah, I think this is going to be quite tiny little bit of a touch. No, keep. Oh yeah, Regan, being absolute gentleman driver there, knew that he had gotten himself into a little bit of hot water, tapping the back end of Aaron, and respectfully waited for Aaron to get that KTM pointed back in the right direction, and continuing then the race. So lovely to see. Really great. It's one of the things that I love about SSRI, is just how respectful all of the other drivers are. Let's just see Patrick Vance off mowing the lawns and as well getting a little bit wide in his battle with Tim Nybor.
Yeah, that was a bit of a lovely rallycross driving there from Patrick. Yeah, I was wondering where he was going there, but this is not rallycross. But yeah, he done well to keep control of it as well and not spear off into the side of Tim there, because that could have ended up being a big incident. But both of them survived. Yeah. Both of them survived, thankfully, and Tim up into 8th place now. But I don't think this battle is going to be over.
No, and as we just jump on board with Bas van Mellis coming, he's gotten in between Chris Hill and Denise Pope. So Bas obviously trying to recover from that lap 1 spin, currently up in P12, trying to fight his way back up into the top 10.
Yeah, it's been a good recovery from Bas at the moment, and I think, if he gets a run on Denise, I don't think Denise will make a big deal of it. But Regan Mitchell starting to close up on the rear of Aaron Walker again, and that slight bit of contact between the two of them has allowed Richardson to pull away and build up a gap of about 4.3 seconds now. So yeah, pretty much Richardson at the moment's got a bit of a comfortable margin behind him. But again, looking at this battle for 8th place between Nybauer and Vance, I think Vance is maybe just deciding to stay behind Tim for the moment and maybe just get back into it and get focused again. But still, is wherever you look, there's fantastic racing going on, especially this battle going on between Pope, Van Mellis, and it looks like Chris Hill as well in the back behind these guys. So a good battle going on between these 3 drivers.
Yeah, pretty much, and as you said, on all down the pack, then there's these nice little pockets of tight 2 and 3 car racing going on. We've got then this fight for what's currently P2, because obviously both cars with that turn 1 incident have dropped back off of Andrew Richardson and a bit by about 4 or 5 seconds. But when if they work together, they can probably get then that gap back down. But knowing how competitive these 2 drivers are, they're probably not going to do that. They're just going to fight it out between themselves, over the competitive racers.
Yeah, absolutely. As a rider on board with Regan Mitchell as well, and I think, like I said before, considering this car's not got any ABS or traction control, he's doing a good job to keep the car up at the front and put Walker under pressure. Walker, who's racing the KTM as well, and I do have a soft spot for the KTM because it's so much fun. It's just a shame that no one really, when it comes to GT4 racing, no one seems to really race it that much.
No, it's nice to see a couple of them in the championship then this season, and as you said, you don't see them very often, but they do look like absolute go-karts, and they look a lot of fun to drive, but not when you get it all squirrely on the grass like that, and that has opened the door for Regan to just pull through, and so hopefully Aaron will. Looks like Aaron was just making a late dive into the pits there, so quite an early stop. And considering that's when we're only 23 minutes into the race, so that's an interesting decision. Unless Aaron was carrying a little bit more damage than it initially looked from the cameras from that incident. It's definitely an interesting decision.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw him dive in there, but I wonder if, like you say, if he's got damage that he's struggling with, and maybe wants to get it repaired, or he's maybe trying to pit early and get some clear track in front of him and put in some quick laps to try and possibly try and jump Mitchell.
I think that latter idea is probably what's actually happened, because he was not in the pits very long at all. So it looks like it was just a standard splash and dash pit stop and not fixing any damage. So I think that was more strategic to try and get clear air, get out of the fight, and potentially try the undercut on Regan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Andrew Richardson, we've got a replay of Richard Pixley getting past as well. It looks like he's about to lose a position as well, and this is a tricky corner to go side by side because there's not really much room as Pixley gets sideways there, and that was so close to ending up in being contact.
Just to correct you, that isn't Richard Pixley, that is Bas Van Mellis overtaking Denise Pope.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. They're both in the exact same livery, so it is a little bit difficult, but now we're on board with Richard Pixley. Having a bit of a go into Dennis Workman, a little tiny bit of a touch on the back end. And I don't... Yeah, that's little bit greedy there, and I think, but managed to keep it together. Has just lost that place to Damien de Keyser. De Keyser must be running on jet fuel. He's just plowed through the pack and already up to P4. So quite a good race from Damien so far. Just quietly slicing his way through the field, almost unnoticed.
Yeah, having a quiet race, but I thought I kept thinking he was further back in the field for some reason, but still he's having a great run up in fourth place at the moment. But further back, looking at Christopher Hill, trying to make a move as well, and put down in 13th, but still doing a good job in the AM class, and he currently sitting in the fourth place in the AM class, so still down in 13th, but still doing a good job in class, and just one place off a possible podium position. But still, we've got a long way to go in the race. We've got about 48 minutes and 27 seconds, so it wouldn't surprise me if you see some people who are stuck in traffic deciding to pit early and try and get an undercut.
Yeah, I mean, and when we've got what, six, seven drivers who have pitted already. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the strategies play out. It does look like there's quite a different approach to strategy than there was last time out in Suzuka, where most people were opting to leave it to the last minute. I'm surprised there aren't more people doing that, but it is fairly early on in the race, not even halfway through yet, so still a lot to play out. As we go picture in picture up in the top, we've got de Keyser and under threat from Pixley. And down in the bottom, we're looking at our very own Chris Hill, just trying to keep that 12th place, and has actually regained. They're trading between 12 and 13 quite tightly. They've been trading this place back and forth between Chris Hill and Jan Ellenboom. In the Mercedes.
Yeah, don't worry, I've made that mistake before, calling a McLaren a Mercedes and such, and it owes a bit of contact into the hairpin there. De Keyser gets a bit of a nudge there, but I think it looks like Pixie might have just got caught out as well. Probably didn't anticipate de Keyser slowing down more than usual, but still, I think probably just a slight bit of contact on the front there as Pixley starts flashing his lights there. But we've got another person in the pits now. We've got Elkenblom in the pits as well. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that there are more and more people pitting early, and not even halfway through the race yet. We've only just coming up to 29 minutes raced already out of a 75-minute race. So still quite early, and we've already got nearly a third of the field already pitted.
Yeah, but Pixie goes on the grass slightly, but look at Andrew Richardson bouncing across the inside curb there. That was a bit of a
nice little power slide.
Yeah, that was a bit of a power slide and a heart and mouth moment there. I think that might have woke Richardson up there.
Yeah, but Regan still holding that fastest lap, slowly bringing that lap time gap between himself and Richardson down. It was up at 5 seconds. Now cut it down to 3. So yeah, I think if both of them stay out, they will be back fighting with each other, certainly within then another few laps, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the gap as well between Richardson and Mitchell, that's down to about 3 seconds now, but still, looking at the battle for the 5th place as well between Richardson Pixa and Dan Lenson as well. These guys are pretty much been close together since the start of the race, I think, or the early stages of the race anyway, but I think it's just the case. Pixa, I think it's just a case of if he makes a mistake, then Lenson's going to take that opportunity and pounce.
Yeah, I mean, back to the gap with Regan and Richardson. Regan Mitchell is lapping half a second faster than Richardson, so then this isn't going to be long before they're back battling it out.
Yeah, absolutely not. As they come across the line now to complete another lap and heading into turn 1, and Mitchell again with another fastest lap of the race so far, so he's absolutely giving it everything to close his gap down to Andrew Richardson, and who's leading the race at the moment. As I sit talking about pit stops as well, Richard Pixa is another one to dive in.
It is going to be interesting to see how then this strategy plays out. With when it appears that quite a lot of the field are trying the undercut. It would be great to see how it does actually pan out. With quite a few of them are opting to take this strategy. But and Aaron Walker, who pitted from right up the top of the pack, already back into P13. So so far it's looking like it's a worthy strategy.
Indeed, Aaron Walker's not really had anyone in front of him. He's got some traffic there in front of him, but he's not really been compromised. So I think as soon as he catches up to someone in front of him, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go for the move straight away. But as Pixley comes out of the pits now, back out in 17th place, and I have to say he's got clear track in front of him, clear track behind him, so he's not really anyone to worry about.
Yeah, he can just get back into his rhythm. It does take so certainly myself and a lot of drivers, it does take kind of a couple of laps to get back into the rhythm and after a pit stop. Especially if you've not changed tires, they've gotten cold, and brakes are cold, and it just takes a little bit of time to get back up to pace. But once he's up to pace, because he doesn't have any cars around him, he can just basically sit in hot lap, and hopefully make up some of that time, and hopefully get the undercut to work.
Indeed, I think I don't know what to do if you're the leaders up at the front. Do you try and go as long as possible and just pretty much run the tank dry, or do you if you're Mitchell and you catch up to Andrew Richardson before the end of the race or before the end of the stint, if you catch up to Richardson, do you dive in straight away and try and get a jump on him?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough call. It's one of those things that you've got to think, and am I going to let my race be dictated by what other drivers are doing? Am I going to stick to my strategy? Am I just going to wing it and, fly by the seat of my pants? So, it's a tough call, and I think everybody approaches race strategy differently. Some Martin Paylor's just popped up in the YouTube chat saying, guessing that the early pitters might have had damage, maybe costing a lot of pit time driving with damage and at Brands. It is a very good point. When with this track being so technical, not really being all that forgiving of mistakes. Is it worthwhile pitting early and taking the time to fix damage, even if you're not changing tires, just to get a slightly more stable car under you? Is that going to be better in the long run than bleeding lap time, driving a car that you can't quite push as hard? Because if you push it hard at this type of track, it'll turn around and bite you in the bum.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Brands Hatch, when you think about it, it's got loads of high-speed corners, and especially corners like these here, where you're going at high speed, and having that damage might affect your aerodynamics, and also affect the handling. So, like you say, you can't really push and try and do quick times every lap.
Yeah, so, it could very well be that a lot of the people who have pitted early have taken that same, viewpoint of, which is the lesser of two evils, bleed a little bit of lap time every single lap to the end of the race, or, take the hit all at once, pit, get that damage sorted, so that you can attack the track and actually have confidence that the car is going to stick underneath you. With a lot of these high-speed corners that you mentioned also being off camber as well, it does make it very, very difficult if you don't have confidence in the car that it's going to be able to stick.
Absolutely, and looking at the gap now to the front, to the two leaders. Regan Mitchell again with another fastest lap of the race, so he's just absolutely on it. And I don't know if Richardson's struggling slightly, or if it's just Mitchell seems to be more comfortable with pushing every lap. But still, it's Regan Mitchell's closest gap down to Andrew Richardson. If I'm Mitchell, I would dive into the pits now and try and get an undercut on Richardson, because if you're stuck behind Richardson for a long time and you're trying to stretch it out, you're just going to lose time and just in a way compromise your race.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough call. I mean, then their lap times at the minute, Regan Mitchell is about 0.6 a lap quicker than Richardson. So if you're lapping that much quicker, do you really want to throw that advantage away by pitting early, especially if you're putting in the lap times? Car obviously feels great to him. Is it worth maybe just piling on the pressure and seeing if it can force Richardson into a mistake? But having said that, Richardson has now just put in a much quicker lap time. That last lap out, a 32.9 compared to Mitchell's 33.3. So, this is definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ride on board with Richardson now, and I think, I can understand in a way if you want to try and stay behind Richardson as long as possible, try and maybe make him do a mistake, but it's a difficult call to make. On the one hand, I would pit and maybe try and get an undercut, but on the other hand, try and stay out and stay, like you say, stay with Richardson as long as possible, and just try and maybe force a mistake. It's one of those situations. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, and it's one that you're not going to know whether the call was right until the end of the race, when it's too late to do anything about it. But Mitchell, definitely keeping the pressure on. He's gotten a great run down clearways now. Just coming onto the start-finish straight, although you can see him fighting within the car a little bit as he dives into the pits. So, be interesting to see where Mitchell comes out, and keep an eye on Richardson to see, when he's going to pit. I've got a feeling he's going to stick it out to the end and see what happens. He's leading the race. Doesn't really have to contend with traffic as the leader. Any back markers that he comes across are going to have to get out of the way for him. So I've got a feeling he's going to just stick it out and see what happens.
Yeah, I think he'll probably just go as long as possible, like he done at Suzuka, and see just pretty much take 1 litre of fuel and no tyres. But yeah, there's not really anyone around Richardson, well, apart from a back marker in front of him, but apart from that, there's not really anyone challenging him. So this might give him a chance to just relax and maybe try and put in some quick laps and try and increase the gap to Mitchell as well, who comes out the pits, and Mitchell comes out in 12th position. So there's not really anyone. There's not one in front of Mitchell, or anyone in front of Mitchell, or anyone behind him. So he is pretty much he's got a chance to push now.
Yeah, but are you noticing what I'm noticing? Aaron Walker in P10, two places ahead of where Regan has come out. So Aaron Walker doing that early pit stop has just been out, racing his race, doing some laps, clean air, and it's got him several places ahead of Regan Mitchell. So definitely this sort of strategy working out.
Yeah, that was a good call by Aaron Walker to pit when he did. I think he's just having that clear air has allowed him to push every lap after the pit stop, and just basically not lose too much time. So he's done a great job leapfrogging Mitchell now. So the question is, can Aaron Walker possibly leapfrog Richardson now when Richardson makes his pit stop?
But when with Richardson, being out in front, clearer behind now. He's got a good 13 and a half seconds back to Dennis Berkman. So he can really just knuckle down, drive his own race, and any back markers that he comes up to, they have to get out of his way. So he can quite easily just stick it out to the end of the race now, and pit on his terms.
Indeed, as we look at Richardson now coming through now on the run down to the final corner, and I think he'll try Richardson now with no pressure behind. He'll try and go as long as possible, I think, as he comes round now and decides to stays out for another lap. So I think he is going as long as possible. Just looking throughout the field as well, and Regan Mitchell, actually, as I say that, down in 13th on his outlap, or the next lap after his outlap, is pretty much just putting a fastest lap of the race so far. So he's absolutely giving it everything. Yeah,
I'm just trying to find his lap time now. Where is he? Just behind. Let me check. There he is. So his outlap was a 37.9. So this lap round will be more indicative of what his pace will be. But yeah, it's interesting to see that Aaron has come out better off and out of those pit stops, and when we've got about half the grid having pitted now, and the other half sticking it out. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yep, as Regan Mitchell's trying to make a move into the hairpin now up the inside of Schenk in front of him in 12th place, but can't get the move done, and this is not what Mitchell needs. He's been held up slightly, and this will be costing him time, and yeah, it must be so frustrating as well pitting when he did, because I think when he looks back at it, he probably wishes he stayed out now and tried to go as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and when with Damien Schenk, it is for position, but at the same time, it's also not really for position. Damien hasn't pitted yet, Regan has, so they are on very different strategies. Is there really any point in fighting it? And putting both cars in danger. So obviously, Schenk has, not fought it too hard. But, at the same time, I've been in that position. In your mind, this isn't really a battle I need to be fighting, but you get that little bit of competitiveness, and you think, no, I'm not going to make it that easy.
Indeed, there's further up in the field, Aaron Walker is stuck behind the Wildfringe the racing car of Denise Pope. Denise Pope was in a different class in the AM class. He's second at the moment, but under pressure from Walker. I think Aaron will want to try and get by as quickly as possible, but still, Denise, on the other hand, doesn't need to get out of the way, even though she's technically in a different class. She has every right to race for overall position, but the battle for third place as well between De Kaiser and Lenson and excuse me, it looks like
Patrick Vance as well. Yeah,
Patrick Vance as well. Sorry, I was trying to remember his second name there. Yes, yeah, my apologies, Patrick. Sorry about that. Yeah, good battle between these guys as well.
Oh, and I think that was too wide in the back as well. So brave stuff from the two drivers there, giving each other plenty of space, plenty of respect as they come out of clearways and down onto then the start finish straight. And this is a battle that has been going for quite a while now.
Yeah, this battle's been going on for a while. These guys have been close together for pretty much the whole race, I think. So, great battle between these guys, and obviously these guys they're up at the front because they've still got to make their pit stop. So when they make the pit stop, they'll probably fall back to round about between 9th or 10th, I believe. So, but still, it's good to see these guys up at the front still having a great race and a great battle. And I think this battle as well will probably be sorted out at the pit stop. But as I was talking about that as well, Regan Mitchell manages to gain up another position from Tim Neubauer as well. So up into 12th place for Regan Mitchell. 11th place for Regan Mitchell now. And to say that as well, he puts in another fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he's definitely on it, trying to make up those positions, and especially on Tim, who has pitted in as well. So that was a strategic move that he needed to make.
Yep, as I say that as well, Lenson actually dives into the pits by the looks of it. So, yeah, some other people deciding to dive into the pits, and Lenson as well, I think, thinking of trying to do the undercut.
Yeah, well, when we are over halfway through the race now, we've got 27 minutes left. And yeah, time's just flown by yet again, and another brilliant race where there's just been battles up and down the pack.
Yep, Baz Van Melis up in 5th place as well, and it's been a good recovery from Baz as well, considering he ended up going off track in the early stages of the race, getting on the marbles and just outbreaking himself, but still a good recovery, getting back into the top 10. And Christopher Hill does a bit of off track in there, going onto the grass, but still having a great run nevertheless, and just keeping it together on track. And looking at the car, as Chris, as I say that, as I just about jinx him, clutch the grass. But looking at the car, it doesn't seem to be any scratches or dents.
No, Chris doing quite well there to keep that Porsche pointing in the right direction, despite off trimming the grass as they say. But he's doing well to keep it all together. As we've got Damien De Kaiser coming into the pits up in the top corner of your screen.
It looks like I thought Baz was going to try and make a move there into the hairpin, trying to make a move on the. Yeah, I think it's
Evan Yepis.
Yeah, that's the one. I can't think. I think is that another Wildthings racing car in front of him?
It is, yes. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think there's 3 Wildthings cars entered into this championship. We've got Penn Pixley, Denise Pope, and Evan Yepis.
So it looks like actually I think it looks like these two have already. I was going to say I thought they already made a pit stop, but it's, just looking at the live timing quickly, it looks like they've still got the pit. So these guys are pretty much while everyone else has made the pit stops and getting back through the field. These guys are pretty quickly move through the field as well, and it looks like they went through a bit of polystyrene as well on the track. So yeah, it looks like someone's had a big off there, but still looking at Regan Mitchell, and I think Mitchell is probably going to feel frustrated as well because he's not got back through the field as quickly as he wanted to, and he's just been held up and losing too much time now. Currently being stuck behind Lenson, and it looks like he's got a run on Lenson heading down to the final corner.
Yeah, and Lenson having pitted already, this is for proper position. So and again, an overtake that he needed to get done in order to keep him up in those podium positions. So we have back on board with Bass. Still fighting with Evan, 0.5 of a second between them, and at the minute, both cars quite evenly matched. Both drivers quite evenly matched. They're both quite experienced. So not surprised that this battle has been going on for quite a number of laps. But really good recovery drive from Bass. Obviously, he had that spin in lap 1, put him right down the order. Yes, he's not pitted yet, but I would expect around a P10, P11 finish for Bass once all of the pit stops pan out. So I think then this will be a good result for Bass.
Yeah, well indeed, and still it's pretty much just kept out of trouble apart from that incident he had earlier on, but still. As I say that as well, Regan Mitchell up in 7th place as well, another fastest lap of the race. It seems to be every time I look at Regan, he puts in the fastest lap of the race, so just absolutely giving it everything to try and get back up into the podium positions. But I think the winner out of all this, once the pit stops have all cycled through, I think is Aaron Walker, absolutely just playing a blinder with when he made that pit stop. As I say that as well, it looks like Van Mellis has made a move for third place, and it ends up having a bit of contact with the Wildfire Racing car as well. So yeah, I think Baz realised that he was a bit eager that move and made contact and decides to give their position back.
Yeah, I think it was a case he was a little bit late on the brakes. Made the move initially, but just didn't quite get the car stopped in time. Giving Nepfus the opportunity to take the position back on the exit. As we come on board with Patrick Vance, and I believe this is against Sander Bale in the 808 Porsche, just getting that move done.
Indeed, Patrick Vance gains a position there, so just outside the top 10 as well. So obviously there's still some people in front of him that still need to make a pit stop there. I think looking at the time, and it's first, second, third, fourth, and sixth that still need to make a pit stop. Also in 11th as well. So not many people left to make a pit stop, but still I think once the pit stops cycle through, you'll probably see someone like this man back up into the podium positions, but still, Regan Mitchell just trying everything to get back through the field as quickly as possible. But yeah, it's all well and good trying to get through the field as quickly as possible and make moves, but you don't want to do anything too silly at the same time.
No, and he did lose quite a bit of time fighting through some of that traffic. I mean, he's a good 8.5 seconds back behind Aaron now. But what's their difference in lap times at the minute? So it's not a whole lot between their lap times, actually. Only about half a second. With Regan in Regan's advantage. So with 20 minutes left in the race, and I think this is going to come down to last few laps shootout for how those podium spots are going to pan out.
Indeed, look at the leader Andrew Richardson as well, and they not really being challenged at the moment. And yeah, the only person I can think it can challenge him now is Aaron Walker, because Walker's up into 5th place now, and yeah, it's just a question of when does Richardson make his pit stop. I think I've just got a feeling that Richardson's going to do what he'd done at Suzuka and try and leave the pit stop until maybe the final 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah,
leave it right to the very, very end. And he doesn't really need to pit any earlier than that. He would have taken enough fuel for the entire race to give him the flexibility to pit whenever he wanted. He's in clean air, not even really having to deal with back markers either. So he can just sit out there lap after lap after lap, race his own race, and just see how things pan out. Let the other drivers fight for position and fight to gain time that they've lost. So yeah, just getting on with it.
Yeah, indeed. There's still this battle is still going on between the Wild Things Racing, Aston Martin. Actually, as I say that, the Evans into the pits now from 5th place. So it's the last few people start to make their pit stops now at the moment. But Richardson, I think, is going to go as long as possible. But the battle between the Pope and Lenson is still going on, and yeah, it seems to be everywhere I look. There's always a Wild Things Racing's car, and it looks like it reminds me of that phrase, safety in numbers.
Denise just gets a little sideways, but great car control there coming out of Druids, literally sideways, but kept it all together. And I think little bits of luck from the racing gods. Lenson was a little bit preoccupied with Tim Nybor trying to make a move up the inside, or else he would have jumped all over that. So very, very lucky for Denise. Great car control, lovely to see. I really hope somebody got a clip of that. That would make a great little YouTube or social media clip coming sideways and out of Druids.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that the Wild Things Racing social media managers probably made a clip of that to post on their team page, because that was a fantastic slide, and that was a fantastic save. But yeah, I'm amazed that Denise never spun or lost it on the marbles, because that could have, once you get in the marbles, you've pretty much just a passenger.
Yeah, we're gonna see it again as we come down the hill. Does she get? She does get a little touched, but yeah, brilliantly held.
Yeah, I can't think she's lost it though, but yeah, it looked like it was just a slight bit of contact, but it's just one of those things. It's such an easy thing to do into the hairpin, because you're so close to the car in front of you, and sometimes you can just slow down much slower than you expected. But again, it looks like Evan into the pits again. It's a drive-through.
For a drive-through penalty. Yeah. Now, I believe I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that that's for track limits. I don't think that would have been speeding in the pit lane in his last pit stop. So I think that's getting wayward of track limits too many times, taking just a little bit too many liberties with the curbs. Quite lenient with track limits here. There are a couple of places where it's easy to fall foul of them, but no, not as bad as some tracks. But yeah, it does appear to be our first track limits violation of the evening.
Yeah, when you look at a track such as Brands Hatch, especially this, like, you probably think, oh, there's no really anywhere that you think you can run wide and you'll get done for track limits. But this corner here, especially, if you take too much inside curb or too much of the exit curb, as we saw there on the green stuff, you can get a track cut warning there. So if you get too many of them, you get pinged for it. But still, look at Richard Pixley trying to make a move on Patrick Vance, trying to get by, but can't really. Like, oh, there's a bit of contact. And
it looks like, is Pixley going to do the gentlemanly thing and wait? Oh, don't reverse into other traffic. Yeah, he is going to wait, and it's great to see, especially considering, you know, he's lost a position as a result of waiting. But, you know, just fantastic that he's done the sportsmanlike thing and waited because that contact.
And it looks like who's that?
That's Denise coming out of the
yes,
getting right into the middle of it.
Yeah, so it looks like Denise has been pretty much swamped by Vance and also her teammate as well. So yeah, Denise is probably thinking, I don't want to hold up my teammate too much, but I don't want to lose a couple of positions at the same time. But it looks like actually, as I say that, Denise is trying to hold up her teammate as well, so it looks like there's no team orders.
No, but I can kind of see why. She's got Wagner's there that you know, she's lost that P2 in the YAM class too, so she's, you know, probably thinking, I need to get a wriggle on, you know, and maybe try and get that position back. Although looking at the gap, is 2 seconds with 13 minutes to go. She can quite easily get that done, I think, as Richardson now starting to come up to some back marker traffic, just, you know, flashing the lights just to let the two Wild Things cards in front, just let them know that he's there, and hoping that they'll let him through.
Yeah, if I'm Andrew Richardson, I think I was going to say, he should dive into the pits now if he's being held up in traffic, but it looks like he's doing the same thing as he's done at Suzuka and just trying to stay out as long as possible. But there's one of the Wild Things Racing cars, let's say Richardson through, the next one in front, hopefully gets out of the way as well. As Richardson as well, you can tell he's really eager to try and get by. He doesn't want to lose too much time.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to work out the gap back to Aaron Walker. So there's 40-second gap between Walker and Richardson at the minute. If Richardson is literally just diving in for, you know, the mandatory 1 liter, he should quite easily be able to make that. Pit lane here is quite short. It is an awkward entry. It's very easy to lose traction coming into the entry of the pit lane here. But as long as he keeps it all together and hits his marks, he shouldn't have any problems getting out in front of Walker, as long as that 40-second gap doesn't deteriorate too much.
Yeah, it looked like one of the back markers there was trying to get back by Richardson there, so I don't think Richardson will be happy about that. But look at this battle for third place between Van Melis and Walker, but it's not really a battle because Van Melis still needs to pit, but I think Baz as well realises that there's no point fighting when he still needs to make a pit stop and just decides to let Walker go by.
I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to see the number on that Wild Things. The 91. I think that's Wild Things car that's keeping on the back end of Richardson is Richard Pixley. It's kind of difficult. 91. There we go. Yes. So Richard Pixley, obviously, trying to stay in Richardson's slipstream, hoping that then the leader can pull him along and as he cuts through the traffic. Quite a clever strategy, actually, if you can keep up and make it work.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that as well, and as Pixley tries to get by Vagras as well, and it's going to be close. Manages to get the move done.
Yeah, and I know Denise will want to catch up with Vargas and try and get that P2 in the AM class back off of him, but time is running out. We're down into the last 10 minutes of the race, so I think Denise is gonna have to settle for third, as with 9.5 minutes left. We've still got 4 drivers out on track still to pit. Our P1 of Andrew Richardson, P2 Dennis Workman in the 444 Porsche, P4 with Basban Millis, and down in P9 Damien Shank still all need to put in that mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, looking at Regan Mitzo as well, he's managed to get back up to 4th place now. It looks like did I just see Van Mels dive into the pits? Yes, it was. Yes, Van Mels diving into the pits.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where Van Mels comes out after then the pit stops. This will be the time that you can sort of take stock as to just how many places he's made back over the course of the race, trying to pull back from that spin in lap 1, and it looks like he's come out in P8.
Oh, contact!
No!
Oh no, Baz!
Oh, as long as he keeps it going and doesn't beach it. Oh.
I was so unfortunate because Baz was having a great run there. He's still inside the top 10, I believe, but he might have lost a couple of positions possibly. But looking at his battle, there's a bit of contact into turn 1 there, and this is so tense.
Oh, 3 wide. And always the way with GT4s, coming into the last 10 minutes, it all kicks off. Everyone's now has noticed time's starting to run out. Aaron's just mentioned in the YouTube chat, this is a great comeback from Dave Hedges, obviously one of our managers here at SSRI. Was involved in that lap 1 incident, ended up right at the back of the pack, and has now got back up to P14. So a really, really great recovery drive from him in the 88 KTM.
Absolutely, and just in front of him he's got Patrick Vance as well. So been a great recovery, and Dave's not finished by any means as he runs wide ever so slightly, but still great recovery nevertheless, and I think he would be pretty happy with a 14th place finish or even 13th place finish if he can get it. But still, the closing stages, it's pretty much this is pretty much when it's the gloves are off, and in a way it's a bit like watching a British Touring Car Championship race. Yeah,
especially when you've got teammates fighting each other, going 2 wide into turn 1. So that's Evan Yepfes trying to recover from his drive-through with fighting with Denise Pope.
Indeed, and I have to say, when it comes to GT4 cars, I do like the Aston Martin because it does handle really well, especially when it comes to using the curves. It seems to handle curves really well, and it's not like other cars in a way where you've kind of got to be really careful. You can't hammer the curves, otherwise the car gets out unsettled there. As I say that, one of the Wild Fun Racing cars gets a bit sideways on the exit there.
Yeah, and oh, come on, keep it together. Nicely done, Dave. But yeah, then he's definitely eager to try and get this move done on Patrick, coming up then the inside and recovering from an off track to then attempt a move, and I think he's eventually going to get it to second. And there is a Wild Things car off in the background. Not sure. I think that might have been Denise.
Yeah, I was going to say I thought it looked like a Wild Fun Racing Mercedes, but I couldn't put my eye on who it was. But
it was Evan Yetfus. It was Yetfus that ended up off into the gravel, as Denise back up into P15.
Yeah, Denise back up into P15, and it looks like if she keeps it on track, she could be on course for a podium finish in the AM class. So a great drive by her, and Regan Mitchell as well is not giving up on a podium finish as well. Is it actually caught up to Aaron Walker?
He has, yeah.
He's closed that gap up like crazy.
Yep, and and obviously Richardson and Workman still out, but yeah, Regan Mitchell trying to make that Scarlet Devils Maserati as large as possible in Aaron's mirrors, just trying to put him off going into the braking zone into Druids. And definitely a big shout out to Tom and his camera work of keeping up with all of these tight battles. Definitely giving us a workout, keeping up with everything that's going on as we're back on board with Denise, trying to chase down Patrick Vance.
Indeed, it looks like Denise is slightly quicker, but still back up at the front. The battle for third place is still going on between Walker and Mitchell. Actually, this will be the battle for second place, or second place possibly, because Dennis Vertman still needs to make his pit stop as well. So, as I say, that Walker gets a bit sideways there, he gets a bad exit, and this is allowing Mitchell to get a run on the outside. Can he hold it on the outside? If he can hold it on the outside, he might be able to carry that momentum.
Oh, that is brave, taking the outside round there, but he's definitely kept it all together. And who's going to be last of the late breakers?
Well, this is so.
He's just gotten a wheel onto the gravel, and that's given Aaron the place back. So when Aaron back up into P3, and I've just noticed that Damien Schenk has also gotten a drive through, and I think I saw Evan Yetfus go into the pits for a third time.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. That as Andrew Richardson runs a little bit wide and decides to dive into the pits now, so leaving it until pretty much the last lap to make his pit stop.
I would expect Dennis Workman to follow him in as well when he comes through. Although he might squeak out another lap, but that would be playing pit stop roulette, and I think it would be just cutting it a little bit too fine for my taste. So I suspect Workman to come in.
So Richardson leaving the pits now, and absolutely textbook strategy from Richardson yet again, doing what he done at Suzuka and coming out still in the lead, but Vertman in the pit, so this is a battle for second place now between Walker and Mitchell heading into turn 1, and I believe this could possibly be the last lap.
We might possibly squeak out one more. Richardson is just coming up onto the Pilgrim's Drop straight, so we may. It's going to be really tight. But I think you're right. I think this is going to be the last lap.
Still, this battle at the top of the screen is still going on. Mitchell is trying everything to try and get by Walker, but it's just Walker as well. Credit to him, doing a great defensive job. Even though Mitchell seems to be the quicker driver, he's not letting the pressure get to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is taking it's so much concentration to the defend. Quite easy to attack. You've just got to concentrate on what's going on in front of you, but to defend, you've got to pay attention to where you're going and also what's going on in the mirrors as well. So hats off to Aaron Walker, doing a brilliant job to hold on to P2. Regan Mitchell coming home in P3. And Dan Lenson coming in P4. Followed by Tim Nybor and Dennis Workman coming in overall P6, but P1 in the AM class. So that's his second AM win. So he's going to be a nice commanding lead of the AM class. Damon de Kaiser coming in P7. Bas Van Millis, really great recovery drive from him coming in P8. Followed by Sander Vale, who quite quietly running his own race today, but doing really well to get up into P9. And Richard Pixley rounds out our top 10. With Dave Hedges coming in P11, another really great recovery drive from him, especially considering after lap 1 he was plumb last from a spin and bit of a contact with the wall. So really great drive for Dave Hedges. So that's Brands Hatch.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. There was so much action everywhere. It was just so hard to keep up. But great racing, great battles everywhere, and Brands Hatch providing once again a fantastic race.
Yeah, and when we've been sport for choice leading into this championship. Suzuka was fantastic and race opener, really close racing battles all down the grid, and again we've been blessed with the exact same level of racing and competitiveness here at Brands Hatch. Battles everywhere you look. We've definitely been hard pressed to keep up with everything that's going on as we're just going through some highlights. But next round is definitely going to be really interesting. Mount Panorama down under in Australia. So wonder who's going to be your pick for King of the Mountain next round out in 2 weeks' time?
Oh, that's such a difficult question, because Mount Panorama it's one of those tracks that you can never. It's so hard to predict the winner, because Bathurst can bite you. There's not really anywhere to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, Bathurst is just going to bite you, and there's only one journey that you're taking, and that's a journey into the wall, and you're pretty much your race is over if you clip the wall around there. But if I was to pick a winner, I'm actually going to go someone completely different. I would probably say someone maybe like Regan Mitchell.
Okay. Yeah, Bathurst is one of my nemesis tracks. It is a case of whenever I see this track on a race calendar, with any of the championships that I compete in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, great, pinball up the mountain, and that's exactly what it feels like. Is that I'm playing pinball between those walls, and it's always good fun. And we are joined in the comms box. Andrew Richardson, congratulations on yet another fantastic win. How was that race for you tonight?
Good evening. Yeah, thank you. It was another race of managing tires and winning at the end. But yeah, I was pushing the whole way. I wasn't taking it easy.
Okay, so when I'm assuming it was a planned strategy, just like you did at Suzuka, fill up the tank, take it to the end, and just see where everything pans out after your pit stop. Was that the plan from the get-go, or is there a bit of adjusting on the fly?
No, absolutely. It came in with that plan. It's so hard to pass around Brands Hatch.
Yeah.
If you pit early and take tyres, you're going to have to come through some traffic, and you lose so much time. Just getting through some back markers who were battling, I lost a fair bit of time and some nervy moments there, but managed to get through it all right.
Yeah, when we did see you getting, the majority of your racing, you were, now out in some nice clean air. But yeah, and every now and then there was just a couple of back markers fighting in front of you. And, when Ryan and I were sitting in the comms box thinking, is he going to pit and try to avoid the fighting cars, or just, hang it out? So... yeah,
I think I wore my flash button out trying to get through them. But no, I didn't want to pit. I was hoping that Regan would catch Aaron and they'd start battling and give me some more time. So I didn't want to be anywhere near them. I was watching them on the map and just fingers crossed.
Yeah, secretly hoping that they would keep each other occupied and off your back, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the entertainment, for the stream.
Of course, purely for entertainment value.
Yeah, not selfish at all.
No. So, how are you feeling about then the next round out at Bathurst in a couple of weeks? Is it a track you like, or is it a bit of a nemesis like it is for me?
I think probably the same as a lot of people. There's quite a love-hate relationship there. I love the track. Yeah. It's great fun, but I will be surprised if I do 90 minutes without meeting the wall.
Yeah, so it is going to be, the first of our 90-minute stints. So do you think that strategy is going to play quite as much of an impact in that race? Obviously, with having to take fuel and tires, it's going to set those pit stops at a fairly standardized time.
It's tough to say, really. There's still some things you can do with the strategy, whether you go for an undercut or go for an overcut. Personally, I think it's going to feel great. I'm going to have fresh tyres at some point. It'll be a new feeling for me, but yeah, we'll see. I think there still could be some variation.
Excellent. So are you going to be putting in plenty of practice, or just show up and drive on the day?
I'd love to say I'm good enough to just show up and drive, but no, I'll certainly need to put some practice in, otherwise I probably won't make lap 1.
Great. Well, Ryan, have you got any questions for Andrew before we let him get on with the rest of his evening?
Yeah, just looking ahead to the season as well. Obviously, last time out you had the likes of Matt Richards challenging you, but looking ahead to the rest of the season and championship in general, do you think you can hold on, or do you think you can put up a championship fight? And who do you think are going to be the main protagonists to look out for?
I think it's going to be a fight all the way. I think as we've seen from the first race, as you say, yeah, Matt Richards was very quick. Regan was obviously up there, and again in this race, both Regan and Aaron were very quick. I think I won by the margin I did because they pitted early. I think if we all pitted at the same time, it would have been tight all the way. So yeah, I think it's certainly going to be a close championship fight to the end. But you got to have some confidence in yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, look forward to seeing you on track at Bathurst, Andrew. And again, congratulations on another win.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Great, thanks, Andrew. Aaron, how are you doing this evening?
Very well. Better than last race, anyway.
That's good. That's good. So, how was then the race for you? Did you enjoy it?
It was interesting. I mean, obviously, Regan probably had the legs on me all the way through it, to be honest. I contemplated letting him pass so he could catch up to Andrew and maybe put some pressure on him, and then maybe I could sneak first. But I think before I could let him pass, he tried to drive through me. But that's a rare occasion for Regan. He's a very clean, very fast driver, so no hard feelings. I managed to hold it, and we managed to sort of hold our positions as well. But obviously Regan took tyres at the end there, which put him behind me, so it just made the end of the race very, very interesting for me.
Yeah, and you definitely kept us on our toes, trying to commentate your various battles throughout the race. And when we did notice that you pitted quite a bit earlier than a lot of the other drivers around you. Was that a conscious decision? Was it a decision made on the fly, or is it strategy right from the get-go?
My hand was forced, really. I mean, the car was set up fairly tail happy. It turned in quite nicely, but you did have to be very careful on the brakes, or you're going to lose the rear end. And obviously getting hit from the rear or in the rear by Regan just tipped the balance. It wasn't in my favour then, so I had to pit to repair the damage. But obviously I was fairly lucky with the traffic. I came out in reasonable space, and the people sort of let me pass quite quickly, so thank you to them. I don't know if they did it on purpose or I was just fortunate, but yeah, I mean, obviously overall it worked out well, and no hard feelings to Regan. Things happen.
Brilliant. And are you looking forward to our next round out at Mount Panorama?
I love it. The KTM's very good there, or it used to be. Obviously they change the bops quite regularly, so I haven't done any practice there for a while, but it's very strong through the mountain. It's not slow on the straights. It's going to be close, I think. So if the bob hasn't changed, I'd sort of look for the win at Panorama, but who knows? I'll put in the practice and see what happens.
Oh, looking forward to that, definitely. And any questions for Aaron, Ryan? Yeah,
just looking ahead to Bathurst as well next week. It's a 90-minute race as well, so obviously it's a longer race. Do you have a strategy in mind that you're going to use, or basically what's the game plan for Bathurst? Obviously with Bathurst as well, it's a track that if you make a mistake or push too much, it can bite you. So what's your plan for 2 weeks time?
Well, as you said, it does have a habit of biting you, so you need to be very careful through the mountain. I do have a tune from previous seasons. It's very stable through the mountain, so hopefully there won't be any dramas. Strategy wise, I have no idea. I mean, generally, you halve it. If you've got a pit stop, you obviously want to use those tyres wisely and halve it, but who knows? Sometimes you have to do something different.
Indeed. Well, again, congratulations on the second place, Aaron, and yeah, that was a fantastic fight between you and Mitchell, and hopefully we see more of the same at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully,
yeah. Thank you, guys.
Great, thanks, Aaron. And Regan Mitchell. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hello. I'm alright. A bit tired. But, yeah, not too bad.
So, how was the fighting?
The fighting was really good. I knew I would have had to fight because I had to take tyres halfway with the Maserati's tyre, where it's kind of not mandatory, but I would have been risking too much in the last 15 minutes, I think. So, yeah, I knew I was doing that from the start.
Okay.
It really became what could have been a race for me. I messed up qualifying pretty bad. Could have got comfortable front row, like 3 laps in a row that I just messed up and drove onto the grass or something like that. And then hitting Aaron as well didn't help things. And yeah, had I qualified well and possibly got past Andrew Richardson at the start and just blasted off, which I think I had the pace to do, maybe a win could have been on the cards, but nah, wasn't my day.
And do you think that Bathurst is going to be a bit of a redemption for you, or is the Maserati just a little bit too much of a handful for the mountain?
No, Maserati's all right there. At least it was. I hope it still is. Yeah, I've done as long as I can just not hit the wall, and if I can find a good setup to get around as quick as possible, then yeah, should be all right.
Excellent. Brian, any questions for Regan?
Yeah, just a question about the Maserati as well. Now, you've done a couple of races with it now, one at the Suzuka tonight. What do you think are the strong features of the Maserati, and where do you think it'll suit Bathurst well with the long straights and the Maserati being quick in a straight line?
Yeah, I've raced it at Bathurst before a while ago, so yeah, I'm not going to give away its strengths there. It's obviously, and it depends on the setup. It could be whatever setup I use. It could be different things. So yeah, you just have to wait and see.
Good stuff.
Keeping the cards close to the chest. I like it.
Yeah, I do like that bit of a. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling as soon as Regan said that, it had a bit of a smug look in his face. But but yeah, again, congratulations on the podium finish there, Regan. We look forward to seeing you at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time, and hopefully we'll see you on that top step of the podium.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Regan. And so, Ryan, then this has been yet again another fantastic race. Just, so much going on up and down then the field. And I have no doubt that Mount Panorama is going to deliver some nail-biting racing in 2 weeks' time. So, seeing as we are talking about next race, let's have a look at the rest of the calendar. So, obviously, as we've been talking about, we've got Mount Panorama round 3 coming up on the 20th September. Then we've got a little bit of a break, and we head into round 4, October 18th at Watkins Glen. So our first stint out in the new America DLC tracks. Then November 1st, we head to Spa for our second 90-minute race around the legendary Belgian circuit. Then we head over to Zolder for our last 60-minute race, and then back out to America November 29th for the final round of the championship. This is a race that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to, is seeing the GT4s around Circuit of the Americas. So that is going to be brilliant fun. So which of the remaining rounds are you most looking forward to, Ryan?
I'd probably say I'm looking forward to the next round of Bathurst, but when it comes to the American tracks, I'd probably say I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen. It's such a fun track, especially in the GT4s. Cota is an okay track, but it's just, if you're on a single monitor, you're pretty much on the back foot in a way. So trying to spot some corners can be difficult, but still, it's looking forward to the next round. And I think Bathurst, being Bathurst, I think it's going to predict a bit of mayhem, but also great racing at the same time.
Yeah, I do think that with Bathurst being fairly early on in the championship, definitely is going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons in terms of championship points. it always tends to throw up some, some mixed grids. Qualifying is just so important, but so difficult to get that clean lap in qualifying for the grid position. So definitely going to be an interesting round out. So I really hope that everyone can come and join us. So if you're on the YouTube, be sure to give us a like and a subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon so that you get notifications of next time we are live. So from myself, Ryan, and Tom, thank you very much for joining us. Have fun, stay safe, and we shall see you in 2 weeks' time down under. Thank you for watching.